From the BBC World Service, in association with ABC and Akashvani, this is Stumped.
Hello and welcome to Stumped, your intercontinental hit of news, features and debate from the quirky world of cricket. I'm Alison Mitchell in London. I've been sorting out paperwork this week, ready to take Stumped over to the US of A. So that meant a little trip over to the US Embassy in London, a very swanky building it is as well. I've also, of course, now that the sun has come out and we've finally got some better weather in England, I've got a cold, so apologies if I'm sounding a little bit throaty today, but we will get through the show.
Hello, I'm Clint Wilden for the ABC in Perth. It's, coming up towards winter. A lot of footy going on, but still a great love of cricket here. Delighted to say my 8-year-old's been invited to a cricket-themed birthday party on the weekend. A scoreboard has been built, Ali. They've mown the pitch. Gates open at 10 o'clock, we've been told. There's going to be a tea break, despite the fact it's the morning, but I did like the tea break in the invitation. So hopefully plenty of cricket. I do really like the fact that we've still got this little bit of touch of summer as we're in the middle of winter.
Well, how the world is so different in different places. I'm here in Dubai still, and let me tell you, it's warming up. Very warm, very hot. But this is Charu Sharma for Akashvani, and of course I'm doing some radio broadcasting for the IPL here in the UAE. What Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma did for the home team Hyderabad against Lucknow was just phenomenal, chasing down 160 and change in less than 10 overs. I mean, what next? A 350 score? Who knows?
It is massive scores. Not quite as big scores, Clint, at the 9-year-old cricket match that I was at on the weekend. My niece is playing, and so they had a game, and it was beautiful weather, absolutely wonderful to be round club cricket again. Then, but yeah, that was in Harpenden, and it wasn't quite as warm as in Perth either, I'll have to say. On this week's show, we are going to be hearing what Sir Don Bradman, Luke Ronchi, and Adam Zampa all have in common. Intrigued? We'll keep listening. But first on the programme, I want to start by talking about player welfare and just whose responsibility is it? Players? Coaches? Club or country? Now, former Test captain Joe Root has been talking about the men's domestic cricket schedule here in England and Wales, saying that it is not fit for purpose. Well, this comes after research from the Professional Cricketers Association, which is the players' union in England, whereby 81% of players expressed concern about the physical toll of a crowded fixture list. Now, in total, if you include the 100, there are 121 days of men's domestic cricket scheduled between April and September. And that's not counting other fixtures like against universities or national counties that are often used as warm-ups. And when you look at the T20, the Blast competition, well, a lot of those matches are back-to-back in different cities, which is a particular concern for late-night driving when players are tired. So we know that managing workload isn't a new thing in cricket, but there are a lot of competing forces at play, aren't they? And players, Clint, are not the only ones who have to put the hours in, but perhaps they're the only ones who can't just say, I need a day off, rota me off. They're the ones providing the product. So first, do you have sympathy? And then who should be grabbing hold of this issue?
I do have sympathy for the players, and I think the issue is one for everybody. And I make that point with reading this, my first thought was the PCA and the deal that they'd done when originally they renegotiated because there was now so much money coming into the game. Had anyone thought about this aspect? By putting more games on, people will earn more money, which is tremendous, but it does mean that there's less opportunities to rest, to recover, as Joe Root said. And I couldn't find the actual detailed document online, but I compare that to here in Australia, the Australian Football League. Their collective bargaining agreement is 195 pages long and has things in it like there is only allowed to be 3 5-day breaks. Now, I know this is Australian football versus cricket, but they actually looked forward enough to say no matter what the broadcasters want and no matter what the fans and the counties want, because more games equal more money and broadcasters want more content, players are only allowed to have a maximum of 3 5-day breaks between games. And so I think that there's an issue for the players who obviously are going to want to play as much as they can, but also the broadcasters need to be involved in this. You want to have as good a product as you can. And I still think that the Players Association, when they look ahead, need to put these things into some sort of writing into a document to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Well, I know that there are now 3 days mandated between county championship matches, so that's the 4-day game, and that's certainly mandated this season. But there are, as I mentioned, there are a lot of T20 games back to back in different cities that involve road trips, and the Players Union, I know, Cherry, want to have at least a day between those matches. And I wonder sort of what the situation is like in India, which is, a vast country, and also, whether you believe if it's down to the players themselves to speak up. But ultimately, the setup in England means it's the chairs of the counties that sort of ultimately help to make those decisions at the ECB. They're the ones that sit around the table at board level, the 18 first-class counties. But they all want income from T20 matches in particular and white ball games. So, yeah, there's a balance to be struck somewhere.
Well, Alison, the game is in flux. It's evolving quite rapidly. And if one was to step away and take a look at it from a bit of a height, we would discuss this on some time back in terms of the number of leagues. And I've always maintained at this point of time that you ain't seen nothing yet. I mean, there's going to be a lot more cricket as more leagues come up, and of course, largely franchise cricket, because in the past it was only bilateral series, which were pretty well spaced and nobody was really burnt out. Now, with so many leagues happening around the world, it suits the players because after all, they are now, most of them, legitimate professionals. They want to make a living out of the sport. I know in many countries where the sport hasn't grown, it's not possible yet, but they too are looking out for opportunity. So I think the game has to continue to get far more professional before they step back, like Clinchy was saying for, was it football or footy in Australia, before they step back and say, well, hang on, are we playing too much? And let's get a better association going that can look after our welfare in terms of the players. Right now, the PCA and all other country associations player associations are not, if I may say so, particularly strong or resistant. So I think the stage that players are going to step back, or the establishment is going to step back and say, all right, let's formulate some number of days rules, is very far off, perhaps 10, 15 years from now, when till then, of course, all players will look forward to even more playing opportunities. So what will happen, like many other professional sports where you earn a living through your sport, is that you do want to play as much as possible to be able to make it a viable living. And only much later will the players realize, well, I'm burning myself out too quickly. And what it also may mean is the addition of many more players into this bucket where they keep having different players for different leagues. And of course, teams may also grow a little more in terms of number of personnel. And finally, of course, we might see more changes in the rules of substitution so that, players don't necessarily need to be out in the field all the time and they can be substituted. So there's less chance of injury or hurting themselves. So all these things in cricket are still to happen.
I think when it comes to the Players Union, Chair, I mean, I can't speak for all countries around the world, but I feel that the PCA is quite strong in England and the ACA is quite strong in Australia in terms of those partnerships with the governing body and that channel then of communication. And the PCA can do this sort of research that they have done to then take that evidence to the governing body to say, look, we need some changes, and for these very good reasons. And some of them, legitimate safety concerns when you're talking about players, driving late at night. And Clint, a large part of that is because I know, Cherry, what you were saying about franchise leagues, that sort of players' choices to go around the world year round and earn a lot of money. I think this particular argument and what Joe Root was referring to is really about the English domestic setup where a player might be earning maybe £55,000. Well, I say per annum. It's not necessarily per annum anymore because they are free to go away. And that's one of the negotiations that they did make in their county partnership agreements with the ECB, that they can then go abroad in their off season. But it's players who necessarily aren't paid a lot of money, but there's an added competition now with the 100, and yet there's still a finite amount of time in the English cricket season to just fit all these fixtures in, and it's just so cramped. And
you also do want to have a standard being played that makes people want to watch the game. So you can't simply just go, well, we're going to expand each of these squads and make them bigger, because that standard does drop. And Ali, I'd also be interested, we've seen it here with the BBL when they actually, I'm convinced that made it too long, put too many games that didn't mean enough. And so interest levels did drop. So whether that's happened in some way in England as well, because you've got that balancing act between you want more content for the broadcasters, but you also want that content to be meaningful so people want to engage and want to watch it.
I think people do want to watch it, which is sort of encouraging, I suppose, that tide of having ever more matches. And certainly the T20 games, they're the ones that county grounds can fill and sell tickets for and gain revenue from. So they absolutely want as many of those as possible. But in probably a window that's getting tighter and tighter. I mean, Charu, is there any such sort of sense of, player burnout in India? I mean, if you take into account there's the IPL, but then the domestic games that go on around that, are any players at all worried about the amount of travel, late nights that they do?
Well, for the moment, it seems that there's enough of a gap between matches. And of course, India is a very big country, so you don't drive around at night to reach the next venue. You take a flight or whatever else. But no, there's no official complaint just yet. Are players burning out to an extent? Well, you can argue that those who get injured take a lot longer to get back, and they're so desperate to get back that sometimes they don't play. For instance, Ishan Kishan and Shreyas Iyer were not exactly, they didn't land up on the right side of the BCCI when they didn't play any domestic cricket and they were coming back from injury. And, so there's some complications about how much a player can play because they're not playing too much domestic cricket in India, those at the top level. But I say once again that, to my mind, I think we haven't scratched the surface yet. There's going to be much more cricket before the world of cricket pulls back.
Well, next on Stumped, what do Sir Donald Bradman, Michael Di Venuto, Luke Ronchi, Spencer Johnson and Adam Zampa all have in common? Well, they all have Italian heritage. Now, 2 years ago, Sydney-born South Australian Redbacks all-rounder Ben Manenti took a phone call that would change the course of his international career. But instead of pulling on the baggy green of his native Australia, he and brother Harry will be pulling on the blue of the Azzurri. With European qualifying for the 2026 T20 World Cup taking place in June and an Olympics on the horizon as well, how is the sport growing in what is a football-mad country? Well, pleased to say that Ben joins us now. Ben, welcome to the show. First of all, you're in pretty esteemed company with that heritage, aren't you? I mean, I had to look up Sir Don. It's his great-grandfather, I reckon, wasn't it? One of the first Italians to migrate to Australia. Tell us then how you and your brother have ended up playing for Italy.
Yeah, it is very good company, isn't it? It's, I wouldn't mind having a few of them to play with now, actually. Yeah, well, we ended up, our dad played rugby. Our grandparents are Italian, and our dad played rugby in Italy from, I think it was like early 90s. And when he was there, he managed to get his passport, which allowed us to get our passport. And I got mine to play club cricket in England 5 years ago, before Brexit sort of allowed me to get over there easy and play some club cricket. And yeah, that sort of started the process of it. And then what I didn't think was going to happen ended up sort of following on from there.
So did the Italy sort of cricket federation, did they get in touch with you or did you seek them out for opportunities?
No, I'd always joked about sort of when I first got it saying that I'd play for them and stuff like that. But sort of 7 years ago, it wasn't really much of a team, I guess. There was probably cricket going on, but I didn't know anything about it. And then, yeah, I just started playing for the Sixers and I'd done an article with SBS about Italian heritage and cricket and stuff like that. And then I got a WhatsApp message from someone saying they were the coach of Italy, which then led me to sort of message a little bit more about it and try and understand it. And that was probably 5-6 years ago. And it wasn't until probably 2 years ago that it actually became sort of real. And I got a few phone calls and stuff like that. And then my brother got his passport for the same reason I did, which led to us both sort of being eligible to play. And then he played 2 years ago. And I played my first tournament last year.
Right. Is your brother still in the side now? I mean, what was it like playing for Italy alongside your brother?
Yeah, I'm lucky. I've played a lot of cricket with Harry now. But yeah, it's certainly different on the other side of the world when English is the second language and you sort of got to stick together a little bit more. But he'd played the year before me, so he knew he'd almost done the test run to see how it all worked and stuff like that. And it's really good. It's good fun.
Ben, I read when you first got the call up to play that you thought someone was messing with you. How big a surprise was it when you actually did get that phone call?
Yeah, it's a bit funny. I was thinking before, I've done a few articles on this sort of stuff now, and I remember that one of my mates who had nothing to do with cricket actually said to me, the Italy coach is going to give you a call soon. And we were laughing about it, and I was like, yeah. He goes, no, I know someone that told someone else who told him, and he wants to give you a call. And then lo and behold, 6 weeks later, I got a call from this guy, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm interested. I don't know when you guys play or anything, but definitely keen to find out more.
But eventually it turned out to be correct. It was the person
exactly.
himself. I'm interested. I've actually taken a little bit of cricket gear to Italy. My wife's Italian, so in the little village of Briganza, there's a bit of cricket gear and a few Australian kits around the place. Well, hopefully that might have some impact in the next generation or two. But what is the makeup of the actual side like? What nationalities are involved?
Yeah, I think there's about 5 Australians like living in Australia at the moment that fly over each year. 7 or 8 that are based in Italy, and then probably another 5 or 6 that are based in England. But obviously, we've all got Italian heritage and passports, but that's sort of just where everyone's based. And the tournament this year is obviously in Italy, so it's a good chance for everyone to sort of go and do that over there and go to Italy, because a lot of us haven't actually been there. So it'll be an experience for sure.
Ben, hi, this is Charu Sharma. I wonder how your Italian's getting along. But, the game perhaps needs Europe. And what is your thought on how Europe is taking to the game in a larger sense, not just Italy?
Yeah, no, it's definitely surprised me. My Italian isn't getting any better, but it's definitely surprised me how big it was last year. I mean, the World Cup coming up's got 2 teams, obviously Ireland and Scotland. They're probably 10 years ahead of where everyone else in Europe is, just due to their funding and when they started, and having a lot of guys that played county cricket and stuff like that. I think that's played a big role in it. But the standard of the tournament last year really surprised me in how good it was. And you get asked, oh, what are Germany like and what are France like and teams like that. And before going over there, I didn't know. So, and I was just like, oh, I don't imagine they'll be any good. But it was really good. It was really, really good standard, and they're really good teams. So no, I think it's definitely growing in Europe. I mean, it'd be awesome to get a franchise tournament that's going on all around the world somewhere in Europe that isn't in England or Ireland or Scotland. So I imagine that's probably the next step. But no, the standard and the game's growing massively. And fast too.
And it sounded before as if have you been to Italy yet yourself?
No, I haven't. No.
So if you go for the qualifiers, this will be the first time. Will you look up some family as well while you're there?
Yeah. Well, Harry went 2 years ago when he played for him. They had a tournament in Finland, and then they had 3 weeks break. So instead of flying home, they put him up in Rome for 3 weeks. So it wasn't a bad little layover. Yeah. So no, it'll be the first time I get over there, which I'm looking forward to.
And when you speak as a team, I mean, I guess where you've just told us the background is from, is the language of cricket English? Or are you picking up any Italian phrases and words that relate to the game?
Yeah, all the local boys still speak in Italian and stuff like that, but it's mainly English, thankfully. Otherwise, a few of us would be running around like headless chooks. But no, it's once you're sort of in there and you get the gist of it all, it's actually quite easy and it's quite funny. So,
well, we know that cricket is now an Olympic sport, going to be in LA, but of course there is I'd say home Olympics, home as in Australia, Olympics in Brisbane in 2032. What would it mean if Italy could play at that Olympics and you could feature on what would be, I guess, on home soil, but for an adopted nation?
Yeah, it's 2032. I'll be touch and go then, 35, but we'll wait and see. It'd definitely be exciting. I mean, I can't lie. Obviously, I'd love to play for Australia, but not everyone does. So to have the opportunity to play for Italy is something that I don't take for granted. But to play at a home Olympics in Brisbane, that'd be pretty wild. And that's what the aim is for everyone at the moment. We're sort of trying to trend in that direction to qualify for Olympics and World Cups, and I guess try and fast track to get to where Ireland and Scotland are, so that it's not out of reach. It's ready in there to go for, if not me and my brother, I guess the next sort of crop of players come through.
Yeah, well, keep on going, Ben, and enjoy. I mean, good luck, I guess, for those qualifiers that will come up in 2026. The qualification for the 2026 T20 World Cup. Good luck with the Azzurri. That's Ben Manenti, Australian-born Italy all-rounder. Well, that's all we've got time for on this week's Stumped. So my thanks to Clint Wheeldon and Charu Sharma, and to all of you for watching, and we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.